Hello everybody, welcome back to FACEIT TV. I'm DK, joined by Foreign here, and we were just waiting for the server to pop up so we can jump into the game. So I'll use that time to ask you more questions about people, and you're telling me some interesting stuff about Cooler that maybe not many people know. And would you like to? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay,
okay.
You can elaborate on.
I mean, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, one of the things that makes Cooler like an interesting player, and it was always like his strategic approach to the game. Because if you see someone like Rafa, you can tell like his way of thinking about the game is to watch demos and kind of pick apart opponents' weaknesses. And something interesting that not a lot of people actually know is that towards the latter era of Quake Live, when IEM in its last ever season, Cooler actually had this interesting system of scouting opponents where he would actually ask after the game, when he'd won a match over someone, he would ask that person to give to him their POV demos. And so even though he's just beaten the player, you'd think, well, what would he gain from that? And whereas another player might either just look at the upcoming games of another opponent they're going to play, or look at their own demos from the last game to see if they did a mistake, Cooler's idea here was like, if he watches the demo of the person he just beat, then he can tweak still the little things that might have been off, even in a game he won. And so, for example, you'd have those scenarios where, sure, you got away from this scenario and you thought, oh, I snuck by him there and he didn't know that I went to red that time. But then if you watch their demo and you say, oh, actually, he just saw like my foot go around there, or he just saw my name flash as he went over. And so these little subtle things you'd never think to try and tweak out. When he was in the last period of being like a real pro, this is what Cooler was trying to iron these little edges out. Because this was when, every time he lost a big tournament, he'd lose to Cypher by a little bit, he'd lose to Rafa by a little bit. So he was just looking for what little area could I get the little advantage on. And that was like a very unique way, I thought, of approaching improving, because it seemed counterintuitive, but then there's like a logic to it when you think about it that way.
Especially, I guess, when it comes to someone like Cooler, who already has such a well-developed game and so many well-developed tools. That as you put it, the kind of fine tweaking, that's probably exactly what you need to do.
Well, especially as the interesting thing is, people's criticism of Cooler always was that because his old style was so effective, people sometimes thought in the era where Rafa was winning, Cypher was winning, maybe Cooler was too stubborn. He wanted to win with his style, and so I think it actually shows that in the latter period, like the last era when we had all the really great Quake tournaments, I think Cooler really was willing to put his ego aside a bit and just go all out. Like, I'll do anything it takes to try and win. And it came so close in those eras.
Yeah, he's an absolutely fascinating player. I can't wait to see more of him. I mean, he said he would be playing this weekend. He actually won. Look, we're in the spring season now, and we've had three. This is the third cup, and so he actually won the first two, and he did so in amazing style. Like he's not a player which we talk about. You don't talk about his aim. You don't talk about his aim at all. This just doesn't come into it. But actually, he was showing that, okay, he just switched to a new mouse or something, which is what he said, and it's like his aim was absolutely incredible. And you add that onto just some of the perfect strings of decision making we saw, and it just makes for, if you're someone who's looking to improve, just going back and looking at some of the demos, it's just would be so crucial, because the decision making is so plain when Cooler makes a decision, because he does everything for a reason. It's not just everything is very well defined in his game, so it's great to learn from.
I get the sense now that because there aren't going to be so many LANs, and we don't know if we'll ever see Cooler at a LAN anyway, even if it's a dream hack, he actually now is sort of putting a bit more emphasis when he does play online, because in the past he was one of those players where he never really did win the online cups. He'd always lose to sort of someone where it might be an upset or something, but he could always say I don't care about online, I was just playing that to keep my shape or something like that. Whereas now, since the only real point in playing is the bragging rights of winning the cup or to play against other good players online you won't meet at LAN, it's there's a reason for him to be motivated to try and take it seriously, because obviously as a gamesman he's incredible, but he needs to be focused in to play that style.
Yeah, it's very true. He's notorious, in fact, for losing practice games. Absolutely notorious. It's you have Cooler. It's like kind of the consensus is, he's the best player in the world at the moment. And it's actually then, but anyone's beating him in practice.
I've heard similar things about Avec as well, because obviously, they're both players who, if it's not an official game, they can be such a hair trigger for just raging and quitting the game or getting annoyed, I'm sick of playing this or whatever. And so I think they were both players who, they could literally have won a LAN a week before or win it a week later, but in the middle period when they're playing online, they could lose to the kinds of players we're seeing here, Guard, these sorts of people could easily beat them in practice.
Yep, for sure. And I'm surprised that we haven't seen more results from some of these players like Guard, because he's someone that has shown a lot of talent in the past, but it's just this level of consistency seems to be sometimes a problem. Some of these players have it in them to play maybe a perfect 10 minutes or something against a really, really strong player, but it's the consistency just isn't there. And I think that consistency element is a really, really huge aspect, and that is probably one of the biggest considerations for any top-level player. How do I develop consistency? Because it's so incredibly frustrating when you know you're capable of these results, but it just doesn't come at this kind of average.
Well, you also get
ups and downs.
This problem when you're an up-and-coming player, or you're not very vetted and experienced, which is that you're always feeling like, okay, if I get the perfect start and it's on like DM6 and I get the right spawn and the armor and I'm in control, okay, now I can win, I can beat anyone. But it's when you're in like the difficult situations, that's when you're sort of like, oh, if I'd have only started, like, you're almost wishing you get the perfect start. Whereas the really great players, like someone like a Rafa, Kula, Cypher, these guys can start with the worst possible start and they still have the mental fortitude to figure out how am I going to gradually get back into this. Where you see a lot of the younger players or the less experienced ones don't have that like the wherewithal to know how to get out of the really tough situations like that, you know.
I remember one perfect example of that, and I've actually selected the map. It's going to be Hectic, first map with these guys. Hang on, sorry. Yeah, Hectic and then Toxicity was God's pick, which is like a completely random, because I thought we were both thinking, Lost World, Blood Run, Furious Heights, the slow maps, but no. But I was going to say, the most biggest example of that was Kula. When everyone's saying the pillar spawn on DM6 back in the day was like unwinnable, Kula would start with that spawn and beat like 0-4 or something, just to show everyone it's possible. But here we go, we've got Agent and Guard here. This is the biggest match we've had today so far, and it's already getting off to a very fast pace here on Hectic as we follow Guard straight into the action with that lightning gun there, just trying to catch his opponent, but it's not going to be quite the case just yet. 20 seconds until anything big spawns, so both players just posturing, positioning, and actually Agent's going to take a fight. He likes to look at this, and that was a great decision indeed, because Guard, wrong weapon out, poor position, worse positioning, and Agent's going to be able to win that little engagement, and that's going to hopefully win him a red. And there it is, the pickup for Agent, as he is just maintaining position here, and actually the LG is doing some good job, but
quite a lot of damage there, a lot more than he thought he was going to, but he gets the kill anyway.
Agent, someone not known for aim at all, quite the opposite in fact, is managing to connect with a lot of shots so far, making Guard's life a living hell as he drops 2 frags in the opening moments of this game. But look at those rockets perfectly placed, one and then a second, as Guard manages to finally die, but he does do a lot of damage in the process, but he's got to be careful not to give away too much, and Agent with the good prediction there.
4-0, even though actually Guard had been doing some pretty good damage output each time.
Yep, and that was also a nice rail there, long distance. Guard is actually only like 100 damage away from Agent, but Agent of course with more pickups is the guy with the more frags, and here he goes aggressively up the jump pad. That might have been a little bit over eager, but he needed to get that position, and because that red armor was spawning in there, Guard taking a nasty rocket to the face there, and Agent with another kill and onto the Mega. Agent is just steamrolling Guard in the opening moments of this Hectic, just steamrolling him, and but Agent's going to get caught by 2 nasty rockets from Guard there, and I mean there's not much to say about that. Guard just hitting some with some good precision there. Nice little prediction.
I mean, Agent actually looks like, I'm not sure whether you can confirm this, he looks like a player who has like quite a low sensitivity, because when you see his aim, there's no flick movement to it, but like, he uses positioning as a result to set all his shots up, He's not going for like just wild ones where he has to flick the crosshair right across.
Yeah, an Agent here actually managing to try and defend this yellow armor somewhat successfully so far. Guard will pick it up, but look at that, he takes a rocket in the face as he goes up the jump pad for his troubles. As Agent now off the spawn picks up a railgun, manages to connect 2, and Agent's hitting a cool 66% railgun there, so that's going to really be helpful in a map like Hectic. If he can keep that up, he's definitely going to be favourite pushing into this first map as the victor here, as Agent tries to just dart around all the angles of the map, trying to be a pest to Guard, as he has some good prediction, but the placement of his rockets not quite there just yet, and Agent is still just trying to weasel his way around these mid-back areas, as Guard wants to secure this red armor, but what's Agent going to do about it? Here's the red armor spawning, Guard's there with the defense, Agent falls back with the rail, and that's going to be the frag for Guard as he manages to defend, but does he take too much damage? That's the question, and Agent going to miss the follow-up rails, and this could be bad. He was hitting well to begin with, but not anymore.
In general, it feels like Agents had the better positioning, but Guard has had way better actual aim and accuracy overall. Like, even in the battles where he has the less items, he's doing a lot of damage.
And actually, I was going to say that Guard is looking in a very strong position, but actually the 2 rails from Agent are going to equalize things, and now Agent's actually kind of won himself an opportunity to push onto this red. He just needs to hit one shot. There's the one shot, but it doesn't quite connect, and God's going to pick up more or less a clean red, giving him now the opportunity to just continue pressuring.
It should be a kill if he rushes, but that rail just pushed him back enough that he couldn't get it.
And that was a fight on God's terms. That was what he was engineering off of that red pickup. And he didn't get the frag, but it definitely worked out well for him. But Agent's still alive and kicking and able to deal long-range rail damage, which is always the threat and the thing that can turn the game around if Agent can manage to pull it off. But that's going to be a yellow pickup for Agent, but God coming in just at the right moment into the blind spot of Agent. Very well timed indeed. And look at this, God again, another fight completely on his terms, and Agent just unable to even do anything against it, getting caught out in the open. Agent trying to rush down again onto this red armor area, perched there up on the high spots, and that's going to be a pickup for him. So I mean, it's such fast-paced action, and Hectic always will be. You have to continually deal damage on this map. There's just no other option. You can't play it passively or defensively. It's such a small and open map. So, but Agent now is looking super strong. Like, he just picked up the Mega. He's still got 100 points of armor more or less, and God is trying to work the rockets from above. But how long is it going to work for him? It looks like it's working pretty well. He just drops onto the head of Agent right here.
He did set the trap up there.
And there is the red pickup for Agent. So stuff's going pretty well for him right now, but you know, he's 4 frags ahead still. Can he push this forward anymore? Typically on Hectic, it's a map where huge comebacks are possible, but it can be very difficult because of that constant damage dealing aspect. It can really hurt that momentum that you want to build in to make the comebacks possible. But that's a great clean frag from Agent there, as the long range rails are working out quite well from him so far, and Guard is trying to do all that he can, but he's just giving away frag after frag at this point.
Yeah, and Guard's position has actually been a bit weird because he almost engages some of these fights when he's the one who's out of control, and so he is doing damage, but it means that in a lot of those scenarios he's kind of letting Agent set up the kill.
Agent here, 150 points of armor, gets caught. Oh, this is so bad for him. He had so much armor, he got caught in such a terrible spot there. Nowhere to dodge, nowhere to move. He manages to pick away the Mega at least, but Guard is definitely in a position where he's dealt some great efficient damage. It's going to leave him with some follow-ups if he's aggressive, and at this point, he needs to just go for it. He needs to just turn things around. He needs to get the frag on Agent, and he just shouldn't care how many kills he loses at this point. He just has to get it done. But that's another pickup for Agent, as Guard's attempts just become futile, it seems.
I mean, when you think of a lot of the fights we've seen, if you didn't look at the score, you'd think it would be a lot closer. But the thing is, Agent, when they split the kills, Agent gets all the really easy kills after that, and so he pushes the score out.
Agent right now is actually finally on the back foot, so this could be potentially a chance for Guard if he's quick, and quick he is. Quick and sly as a fox as he manages to finally take Agent down, and Agent's off the spawn now. But can Agent be that kind of pest with his railgun long range? Guard has to eliminate this threat as quickly as possible, and that's what he does. Closes the distance, makes that railgun useless, and cuts down Agent. But he's got to do it again and again and again, as Agent is so far ahead in the lead. 11 frags in the lead, but we've seen crazy stuff on Hectic. So let's see if Guard can make this one happen. He's got to pull out some superior aim here, and superior fighting abilities, superior reads.
I mean, if you're Agent, all you do here is you just pester him with a rail and keep plus backing, so he has to come into your rail shot. Because if you do that, it's very hard for him to win. Although he does get this first kill at least. But he's got a lot to make up though.
Yeah, let's see if he's able to do it. He's going to pick up the Mega here. This is really
good timing to get the full stack though. Yeah, he should be able to get red, and then now he has to go for it. This is his opportunity.
And this is really going to be so strong now for Guard. If he can get this red cleanly. Agent is there, as you said, pestering, but not going to be able to connect with anything. And so now Guard is just stacked to the teeth. Rocket jump up. Agent missing the easy shots, but here comes the defensive damage with the rockets, and it's pretty good actually. And you know, there's 10 seconds away from the red armor, so
he's got a chance to get everything here actually. That actually might have worked out for him, the fact he got delayed a little bit on that corner.
And Agent actually picks up the Mega. Great timing. And Agent going to get bashed back by the grenades of Guard. Well placed, but
he has to. Problem is he has to go pretty much all out here.
Yeah,
the sheer volume of flags he needs.
He cannot pick and choose his engagements anymore. The clock is against him. Rocket jump up from Guard as he goes to position himself back to find his opponent. There is Agent. Agent going to play the defensive game as you suggested. It's clearly the most sensible option for him. force God to move into those spots where he becomes super easy to hit. And there we go, the rocket jump up.
He has been guessing correctly. The problem is it's too much time's going off the clock between each one. So he's got a minute and a half now to get 6 frags.
Takes a direct rocket. It's going to follow up with really superior damage. He gets another one, so it's just 5 now in a minute and a half. This is suddenly looking like a possibility. As now God, he's got to keep his cool though. He's got to maintain his equanimity here as he pushes forward into this game, into the last 60 seconds of this match. 5 frags to catch. There's a lot of damage onto Agent. Oh, Agent kills himself up the jump pad.
I mean, I'll help, obviously.
Now just 4. This is looking like it's so possible, but God has to keep going. He cannot yield. He's got to keep the pressure up. He's going to do another rocket jump, and again, that's how many times he caught Agent with that rocket jump through to that railgun area. Picks up the mega. Now he's just going to go for it. Here he finds Agent. He cannot.
He's going to get this one. That's what he'll be able to do afterwards. Because look, the time's 45 seconds to get 3.
And he just took one bad rocket.
And he has been guessing each time where Agent will be.
And he knows that he's got to be just pushing in the limits here, just going for it. Agent is just running away, and Agent maybe playing too passively from his lead.
He's just going to time it. Oh no, he goes straight up in.
This is looking really close. 20 seconds left now. 2 frags to do it, and God is going to start feeling the pressure, going to start shaking as he finds Agent once more. Can he get the frag? He just managed to get it. It's 1 more to tie up the game. 10 seconds left.
He heard him down on below there.
Agent going for the railgun now, and he's got that. He's running.
I think he's going to be able to run away. That's the problem.
5 seconds left. God actually finds him. He goes up the jump pad. Oh, but Agent, can he cut off the angles in time? He does just that. And Agent manages to survive to just close out that first game. And God making it a really, really intense and close affair. But Agent managed to pull it through. And I was pretty surprised that... I was actually, when God started to really get that comeback going, I was actually like, wow, I'm seeing this completely now.
I think what you saw was Agent wanted to play a really defensive game, but then once he actually got into those fights at the end there where he was trying to time it out a bit, I think he got a bit nervous as well, because you saw sometimes he would just completely turn his back to guard and just run away, and so he's just getting LG'd all the way in the back, you know. Whereas if he did just maybe played a bit, like held his ground a little bit on those and either forced him back with rockets or tried to trade a kill, then maybe it would have it didn't matter in the end anyway. You had like 2 seconds to spare to survive the game, but it almost went wrong there at the end, especially quick spawning back in when he had. There was a point where there was like 30 seconds left and he quick spawned back in instead of wasting like 10, you know.
And now we're moving on to Toxicity between these two. It's match point for Agent as he won Hectic just then, and got to say this is going to be a hard match for him, but he's been showing some prowess with his fighting abilities. Can he show it here in this fight once again? And there he does. He gets the frag. And he comes away pretty healthily off of it. And God, nice little trap with the plasma gun. He knew Agent would go for that LG position, and he does a lot of good damage. He takes quite a lot himself, but at least he deals it back. And Agent right now is looking towards this red armor. Is he going to be able to get any damage onto his escaping opponent? Not quite. And oh, great connection there. Oh, and a fantastic second rocket coming in. And some very eloquent stuff coming from the rocket launcher of Agent here as he manages to just beat his opponent around. And Guard going to fall again off the spawn. So that's 3 frags, quick frags in succession here in the first minute. And Agent is looking to be very, very strong in the momentum side of things so far. Oh, caught in a very horrible position. And you can see why that red armor area can be so dangerous. Not many places to dodge. It's a very poor positioning wise as far as the height advantage, disadvantage goes. And there, Guard going to try and finish things off to find Agent, but Agent is going to have none of that as he manages to take down God once again. Guard not able to win some of these fights against the superior stack of Agent. And we can see that he's not timing some of the fights too well. Agent always has items to fall back onto, and once again 200-100 for Agent. So look at the aggression from Guard is just always going to come. It's like a guaranteed thing. And here we go again off the spawn. Is Guard tilting right now? I don't know, because some of these decisions are questionable.
That particular attack there especially, there was nothing to challenge for. He just went with machine gun only, and he had to know that he couldn't have been that low. And the problem here is he's down 6-0 already, so he's kind of getting a bit frustrated there. It's now put him in a really tough situation.
I was not expecting 2 fast maps from these 2 players, but that's what we're getting, very aggressive and fast-paced games. Oh, God, with a great 1-2 there with the rocket launcher, manages to finally get that kill he's been yearning for so long, and God going to pick up the mega as well. Can he turn this into control? Can he make Agent suffer? And this is the question now as we push forward into this.
He's going to die in the slime, though.
And he's going to die in the slime. Oh, it was ill-fated. A attempted a comeback. But look at again the long-range rockets. They're like homing missiles onto Agent. As Guard manages to once again survive, pick some stuff up. Agent gets killed again from Guard. Going from the spawn, but not going to find it just there. Mega coming up.
And you would have expected more of a slower game between these two, but we've seen them both rack up the kills really early because Guard just is essentially willing to engage all the time.
Oh, we got 7 points of health left on Guard. Got to find the points of health. There they are. The 25 bubbles going to save him just for now. And there's another 50 as well to build up his stacks back again. Go for to be able to actually take these fights. And just a fadeaway rail is going to keep Agent at bay for just a little while longer as Agent knows he's screaming. But Agent himself is low. One rail will do it. But Agent manages to secure the kill with the rocket launcher, and there is the red armor spawning there. And great stuff from God. Again, as you said, like just super aggressive, just doesn't seem to care. You can just guarantee, Agent should just be able to guarantee the aggression. He'd just be spamming around the corners with rockets, but look at that. Meeting Guard there with the rocket launcher out of that teleporter.
The thing with Guard is, when he does this aggression, it doesn't really work out quite enough times to actually make it worth his while. Like it does a couple of times, I think that spurs him to think, oh, I'll do it again next time, I can just rush him straight off. But you've seen like, it only works maybe 1 out of 3 times.
And here we go, he's looking at a 6 frag deficit now, so maybe we'll see something like Toxicity, where God actually manages to slow things down after getting one of his kills, one of his chances of turning around control. But now he's playing with the mid-range rails, trying to win over this Mega. He does win the Mega. Oh, and at what cost I was going to say, but he manages to even get the kill as he lands back-to-back rails as he goes for the red armor now and gets another one. En route to the red, just picks up a really clean little frag, and that's going to really be the start of something as he hits another great rail onto Agent, as Agent just goes around that teleporter area. God is looking like the superior player at this moment in time, but he's got a lot of work to do. There's the plasma jump up. Red and Mega spawning at the same time. Mega's going to be the position he needs. It's by far the better position in this situation, in this scenario. He picks up the Mega, and look, he's back in time to the red, but actually Agent rocket jumped up instantly. He knew that he could not hang around there, as his position would be so terrible. And Guard here, he knows his opportunity is now. He goes for it, but their Agent just confusing him with the teleporter there, and Guard manages to make the frag happen, but he takes so much damage in the process, and there's only got yellows to replenish on just for the time being, so this could be very dangerous. An Agent there, fading away, defending that choke point, manages to finally pick up the red armor. Halfway point has been reached now in this one.
And finally it's actually slowed down a little bit. We haven't really had any full-on engages like where it ended in a kill for a couple of minutes.
And great little long-range rail from God that's going to give him the cue to try and challenge. But he doesn't want to challenge just yet. The res is up on the spot, and their Agent was going to go to try and attack it from above, but actually there was Guard already, and that is going to be the fatal mistake, or rather maybe the great play from Guard to surprise Agent in such a way that would yield him a frag. And there he finds Agent once again, and look at the precision on the lightning gun there. The tracking was very strong from Guard as he manages to take down even yet another one, as now the Mega's coming up on, is up on the spot, and we can see Guard just abusing his position, and a nice little grenade there. Oh, and even
on it as well.
the spawn
to take the lead. Yeah, the thing is, whereas on the other map, Agent would get a better of a lot of the defensive battles where he had position, he's actually been doing really badly going backwards firing on this map. That's when Guard's been able to rush in and get the kills. And that looks like he's going to get another one to go along with it.
And it's looking too easy for God now. It's like he's a different player from before. Like before he was just rushing it. It seemed like he had no plan at all.
Especially if you remember, he gave up 6 frags really quickly, and it was looking like, oh, this game might already be out of reach, you know. But actually, the slowdown in the pace overall has benefited Guard.
And God right now is 3 frags ahead finally, and Agent's got to be trying to look for an option to get himself back into the game. What is he going to choose? Is he going to choose the rushing, kind of just trade a bunch of kills to take control? Or I wonder what he will choose, because like at this point in the game, a strategy like that is much worse because you have less time, and you need time to make your comeback when you eventually do get control. So actually all the frags that he has right now are quite valuable, and giving away any more is going to be very detrimental to his overall chance to win the game. So let's see how he manages to do this, if he's going to continue to play it slow or what he'll do. There he goes and jumps across to the Mega. Oh my god, has he mistimed it? He absolutely has mistimed the Mega, and that is just...
Yeah,
that you just can't afford to make that mistake.
I mean, you can tell that he thought that was going to be how he'd get back in. He'd get the Mega, then it'd be sort of even, But instead, now he's just completely swung things Guard's way, and now it's hard to see what he's trying to set up here. And he's really been losing all the end fights.
And Guard just better positioning, misses the rail. He's going to have plenty of upper opportunities as a second miss as well. Looking for that teleporter exit, it's not going to come just yet. As Guard, nice little plasma spam. It's great that he's using that weapon, it's not used enough for spam, especially on a map like this. And there we go, more LG damage. Every little bit of damage against Agent right now is really important, and Guard's doing a great job. Now look at all this damage Agent has to contest with. He got the red armor, but he's got 5 health, and there the final finishing blow from Guard. With 2 minutes left, Agent knows it is over, and that's 8-16 there. That's kind of a scoreline, and that's going to be Guard up to. So we're going to a 1-1 situation with the tiebreaker about to take place.
And I think 27 was the tiebreaker, I think it said.
So that's going to be... Furious Heights is always a great map to watch. I have to say, when I first saw it come into play back in 2009ish when it first started, I was very skeptical. But over time we saw that it really became a great map to watch players play. It had, you know, some really fast moments, some slow moments. It's a very balanced map. There's many opportunities.
It's a map that really rewards tactical decision making as well. Like, I mean, the guys who just have the crazy aim, they don't win on this map unless they also have really fundamentally sound, like, tactical decision making.
And after this game, we'll actually be, I think, watching Twist the Demon, which will be a very interesting game. But Guard and Agent, I don't know who to really give it to. I mean, it feels like right now Guard has been playing a lot better. Coming out of that Toxicity, you would want to say that, but
I mean, he's been stronger in the second half of both maps so far. Like, early on, Agents had, like, it looked like he's outthinking him, but then it's kind of like Guard has the aggression constantly anyway, and he just has to, like, fine tune it until it's like in the right direction. Otherwise, when it's off, he's just giving up kills. But also, we've seen Agent's gotten a lot weaker towards the end of the maps. Like, his ability to, like, play from out of control has been pretty bad, actually. He hasn't created many opportunities at all. He's just been trying to hold on to his original lead, and he almost gave it up in the first map. He totally gave it up in the second one because it was so early when he lost control.
Well,
I mean, I get the sense that for Agent, he prefers like a low-scoring game, whereas bizarrely, even though Guard's giving up all these early kills, because he's playing at such a frenetic pace, once he gets in a position, then he can make the kills up really quickly as well, whereas that's not what Agent's used to, I don't think.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way, and these guys are getting close to readying up here, and I'm just going to check the brackets quickly, because I'm very curious in who they're actually going to face, when, like, who the winner will face, because Cypher's ready and waiting in the brackets somewhere, and Evil as well is here today, as well as, you know, players like Demons, so we could have some really crazy matches coming up, and I want to see who the winner of this will actually end up playing. As I click on the brackets, I'm just going to speed along, see if I can see. So the winner of this one will play against Cypher in the semi-final, so that's going to be a really interesting match. And of course, on the other side of things, the winner of Demon and Twister will play against Evil, so could have some really interesting games coming up for you guys. And right now we're just waiting on Agent, I think, who's having some maybe issues with his connection. I'm not sure. I hesitate to even say that because I don't want there to be any connection issues. It's always the worst possible thing in Quake, or rather online play. It's the only terrible thing in online play, really, is connection troubles. But I'll use this moment to ask you, who is your favorite Quake player, Jeweler, ever? Apart from, you can't say Cooler.
Oh, that's a thing. It would easily be Cooler.
Yeah, if it's not Cooler, who is it? Is it Raph?
If it's not Cooler, see, actually, it wouldn't be Rafa. He's actually not one of my favorites. The weird thing I think about Rafa is he's like a catalyst for great games against other great players. Like, I actually find his style of play quite boring on its own, but what amazes me about it is that he manages to use that style to beat up the guys who are incredible, like Cypher. He can neutralize their style. So on its own, it's not that fun, but as a catalyst, I think it's like it makes for the best games.
That's a really nice way to put it.
Him versus everyone else is always a fun game, basically.
And here we go, we've got the game underway. It's the deciding map between Agent and Guard here. Furious Heights, and Agent once again takes things into his hands right at the start of the game, pushes Guard away, and takes the Mega. And this is just almost... Okay, well, it almost was perfect, but he did take a lot of damage there, but still, he's got to get onto this red quickly. I think actually Guard could have actually defended this red. Because
I think he just assumed that Agent would go straight to it, though.
Yeah, that must be
scenarios.
And it is a safer play, and that's the thing. We're playing with like imperfect information in this game, so some things can be a very big risk if you don't have all the information as a spectator like we do. And Agent going to pick up another clean little frag there with the rocket launcher, goes for another rocket jump. Oh, there's God, very sneaky. Agent even rocket jumped up again just to see if God would peek out, and he did it again after Agent turned his back, and God even gets the frag. How did he just do that? Unbelievable from God. I mean, that's something that Cypher does a lot as well. Just
because the red was up, now he's going to get that, and
great plasma work.
Nothing for Agent.
What a turnaround out of nowhere. I mean, that's something you usually see Cypher doing, like always peeking back. And Agent was even looking for it, but he just turned away just at the wrong moment. And God right now is definitely an advantage.
God's going to go over for that red. Instead of staying back and just taking the Mega, he went all the way over, and he's basically just going for the kill here to see what he does.
Yeah.
Finally decides to back off and take Mega.
It's nice he actually dealt some damage in the process too, as Agent was like scuttling around trying to be like, okay, which way are you going to go, God? Which way are you going to go? Because I don't want to fight you, so I want to go for the other item. And he managed to get a little bit of damage, but 100 and 150 for Agent, and God with the drop, with the lock of the LG, but also with the greed. And I mean, he had the beginning of the fight was so strong for God, but then he just hung around for too long. He tried to stay and commit and finish things, and to do so he would have had to have gone for a choke point against the Rockets. Big risk, and it didn't pay off for him as he went down pretty low there, and that's going to slow him down a little bit. And the God coming in with more rails, just abusing God there, as God had to replenish his stack
so now
and go for those
giving
items.
Up control basically.
He does drop down for the red, and Agent, if he just continues to deal this long range damage, he's going to set himself up nicely. But great little stuff from God there with the lightning gun. Going to push Agent down to 17 points of health, and all these little tiny bits of damage from God onto Agent are working out really well, because if you look at it as a war of attrition, God being the guy in control, of course, is always going to win that war of attrition. And there, Agent going to, oh, what a misstep. Totally didn't expect God to come from that angle, and Agent manages to fall down there to God's plasma. So God doing a great job, but Agent with some plasma of his own, trying to go for that choke point, that super damaging choke point plasma combination, but God manages to circumvent it and gets the frag off the spawn, and it looks like clockwork now for the Lithuanian. Going to pick up this yellow, so that's going to put him in great stead for this red, or perhaps not. Again here, this is the play that I expected from God previously. Okay, you're outstacked, but you have the choke point and you've got like an LG or a rocket. It can be doable. You can defend that choke point. It's a risk you take, and Agent managed to pull it off. And now look, he's going to maybe even win this Mega. Can God land any damage as he jumps across? Not enough. He misses the rail, and that puts Agent in a wonderful position now. 4 minutes into this one, Agent is all of a sudden working his way back into control. He's just got to get this red, and then he's going to be able to apply some more pressure. But God is there, pestering from above. 2 hits from above with that railgun. God is going to be able to keep himself in this a little while longer, and Agent won't get to that critical mass of armor and health.
Yeah, I mean, when Agent actually jumped over for the Mega there, it seemed like uncharacteristically bad LG from God. He didn't do very much damage at all. And he was expecting, okay, he'll get the Mega, but I'm going to LG him the whole way along and take basically almost that much off, like at least 100. And so, red goes to Agent. Mega are going to be up now. So we kind of got like inverted stacks here pretty much.
Yep, and right now the game is slowing down a little bit, but both players can take fights. Agent looking for it now, and here he's going to try and commit, but look at the rockets from God straight into the feet of Agent. He's got to retreat, he's got to get out of there. God is coming in hard here with the lightning gun, and the defensive damage is pretty good from Agent, but still 2 health is no way to survive if you want to stick around for a fight. So he does get the hell out of there, and he manages to run away. He's got 50 health to work with now, but still no armor. 1 rail will just completely crush him and just kill him just on the spot, as God now has 100 armor, picks up the Mega, gets the yellow too. God is in an amazing position here. He's looking so strong, and there he goes at 100 miles an hour straight on to Agent, as Agent has to back away again. Agent just has to fight, just continue to run, and God is just,
I mean, this is fine for God, because okay, so you get to know battle, they do a bit of damage to each other. He always leaves with just a little bit more health and armor, and then now he gets the kill this time, but on the other times he was staying in control, so it doesn't matter to him if he wins the battle.
And he was always seemed very cognizant, very conscientious with the item pickups along the way with his chases. And Agent, okay, that is, I hate it when you see frags like that, where the other player didn't even look like he was even present. A free kill to Guard, and off the spawn it looks like Guard's going to get another one. Pulls out the plasma to finish things off, and with 4 minutes left now, Agent's starting to really run out of time. He's starting to run out of options because everything he's been doing so far has not really been working so well against the Lithuanian player Guard here, as Guard manages to just overpower his Russian opponent, as Agent now takes even more LG damage, and Guard's been doing some great stuff with the LG so far. The way he uses it to just consistently make consistent damage is a very strong way to play. Red's coming up in 15 seconds, Mega's already up in the spot. Guard's going to be able to make a very strong challenge onto this item, and let's see if Agent's able to defend it. And Agent actually has a great stack, 130 armor but only 66 points of health, so Agent could definitely try and take a fight here if he drops for it. Does Guard want to do it? Nope. Good from Guard. So this is Agent's opportunity really. He's going to start building a stack that's going to enable him to challenge for this Mega. But look here, around the corner, a fight is going to break out prematurely here before that Mega spawn, and Agent's going to actually win this engagement, wins it positionally now, as well as for the damage as well. So what a phenomenal result for Agent. Really exactly what he wanted to happen. And he's going to try and catch Guard off guard, but the read was a nice one, but it was the incorrect one, and Guard actually wins the Mega off of it, but at least Agent gets the kill.
But now he's going to take Red, and now he has the first full control in quite a while.
Agent speeding onto Guard
here. There we go, the score's quite close now actually. It looked like Guard had a sizable enough lead to protect it a bit there, but now he's going to get this up as well.
And Agent with some nice chasing skills there manages to connect around the corner.
He tricks him as well.
Great.
He really had him convinced that he was following behind above there.
Brilliant stuff from Agent so far to keep himself in this game. 2.5 minutes left, and it's 2-frag deficit, and it's match point between these two to find out who will face against the Belarusian
full control
Titan.
Here for Agent. Oh, a bit lucky with that second shot, but whatever. When it goes your way, it goes your way.
And there's a yellow pick up for Agent. It's just one more now. There's plenty of time. He can even slow things down if he really wanted to. Just make sure it's a sure thing. But look at this. If the kill's going to come to him, he's going to take it. And there it is. You're tied for the lead. Agent is making things happen here.
I mean, he's really playing totally different to how he did in the rest of the game. Now he's getting all of his kills by chasing the other guy down, putting him on the back foot, pressuring him. Whereas before, even when Guard was the one losing the kills, he was always the one putting the pressure on, you know. He kind of dictated the fights.
And Guard was in a lot of damage there, almost a very close affair. And that's going to be the lead for Agent finally, as he manages to win the fight and win the items again. Guard is got to be feeling desperate. He hasn't got time to play it slow. He's probably going to end up trading frags and for damage, and then just see if he can get a kill.
This is the worst time again to have lost the lead as well, because armor situation is pretty bad, and only a minute and a half left. And now it's Guard who has to be aggressive and push.
It is looking very grim for him indeed. Let's see if he can do it though. Guard, can he pull out some crazy rocket skills? There's one rocket, but not enough. I mean, that's a great situation to try and engineer a rocket-based comeback from, with those pillars dancing around, but it just doesn't happen for him. And he's got 3 frags now.
Mega, I think he just plays defensive now.
1 rail, 2 rails from Agent, as he is just pushing back and back defensively, pulling back defensively.
It looks like he's going to close this out solid. I mean, Guard basically played sort of almost 2 maps with a good play, but he just had it in the wrong area. So he had 1 map that he actually won straight out, and then the other 2, he had like a solid half for each of them, but it was always the wrong half, you know. So in the other game, he gave up the lead early, and now this time he actually got taken from behind now by Agent just coming back in the end.
Yep. And now it's just we're going to see a situation where we get to see Cypher versus Agent, and I've got to say that is, I mean, if either one of these players had made it through, would have been probably an equal quality. And I think that Cypher, I actually am very looking forward to seeing his form, because we've seen very different forms from Cypher. Like, I make the point that sometimes Cypher doesn't bring Cypher to the game, but when we do see Cypher bringing Cypher, it's the most glorious thing to watch, because the guy is just incredibly talented.
I mean, even though Cypher in later years has developed like more of a consistent game, like he's got a defensive game now, he's got a style that doesn't have to rely on his skills being on, he's still always going to be more of a feel player than other players. Like I've always thought with Cypher and Avik, they're like the two most feel players for the game. Like when they're really feeling it, they're in their flow, that's when they're super dangerous. But it's those games where they're a bit off, then they're not actually so good at kind of like figuring out a game plan to get it back into a match. And versus anyone with good aim, that's when you're primed to lose.
Yep. So I mean, also, Kilson, got kind of destroyed in the best of 7 against Cypher just recently. So if Cypher's still playing on the same level, he's going to show us some great stuff, because Kilson also managing to defeat Kula recently too. So a lot of high level stuff coming back in very recent times with the 125 FPS cups, and we have also the FACEIT Sunday cups and stuff like that. A lot of Quake is the level is actually starting to raise quite a bit again, because we had such a dip when all those events were suddenly like, yeah, we don't really care about Quake anymore, and we were all like what? And then Shoot Mania happened as well.
When events die off, what happens is people actually get put in this position where they really ask themselves, like, do I actually play for fun? Do I enjoy this to some degree? Because a lot of people would always say, I only just play for it's competition's all that drives me now.
Yeah.
And so, like now we're seeing the players, like the ones who actually really like to play the game, they're the ones sticking around, whereas a couple have just like sort of left a bit. And so maybe they'll find their love and they'll come back again. Otherwise, these are the players who actually will play no matter what, I think.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope to see Avik back and also Sparty play more again. I think Kilson actually said after we beat Kura, I think he was like, okay, one of my goals is actually to win or make it to the spring season finale for FACEIT. So we'll definitely see more Kilson as well. And Avik is always around. Strengths is there as well. Strengths has been saying that he would love to play, but like he can't. The issue for him is that he can't play like Shoot Mania and Quake at the same time. He can't practice both of them. He says when he's tried it, it makes him play much worse than Shoot Mania and vice versa in Quake and so on. So that's his thing. If he's got no Shoot Mania, we'll see him. And so we're starting to see a lot more awesome players come back. But we're going to go to a quick break, guys. When we come back, we'll be here with more semi-final action, I believe, here from the FACEIT TV studios. I hope to see you there.